Hello, everyone. My name is Simran. I am the treasurer for the IVNVI Forensic Society,
And my name's Lavelle. I'm one of the public relations officers for IVNVI.
and we're here today to talk about like some general advice for this year, talk about how the first semester of this academic year went, sort of debrief and discuss some ways that we personally go about with study planning, stress management, etc., and basically just reflect on this semester and also answer some FAQs that we've been asked on our social media or during office hours. So, firstly, um, in terms of this semester, for both Lavelle and I, this was the first semester we had that was like fully back in person. For me, it was the first semester ever in person, and for Lavelle, it
hmm
was the first semester fully back in person. So, how do you think it went for you?
Personally, it felt really weird because I spent like almost 2 years like in another province in Vancouver. So coming back to Mississauga and then living alone and then suddenly just like being thrown back in person, it just felt like really maybe like isolating in a sense. Like I had to completely like figure out what my routine and everything had to be. So yeah, it was kind of disorienting. What about
Would you
you?
would you
Oh,
say that your first year that was in person before COVID and this that is in person after COVID is the same or different?
I think it definitely felt different. Because in first year, it's like everyone in my year is like trying to figure things out. And like I also lived on residence in first year. So I
Mhm.
guess the vibes were totally different compared to now where I'm living off campus. And
Yeah.
I am in fourth year. So I should be knowing what I need to be doing. But like literally the first few weeks, it's like you forget where things are. Like you don't know where your classes are.
Yeah.
You're not familiarized with the campus, right? And that's kind of just, but I guess like everyone feels that way. So I don't know. Yeah.
I understand that because like with me the situation was that like I'm one of those people who did not get anything in person for first and second year. So I believe
hmm
everyone who's in third year, we are kind of this was the first time we had to like deal with the commute, deal with like being on campus for that long. Um,
hmm
so it is sort of like an adjusting period, and that's something I would say to anyone who's listening who is even if you're in first year because you had like high school that was online, like it's
Right.
okay if it takes like some time for you to adjust with the fact that now you have way more social interaction, you have a lot more
hmm
like people you're seeing, a lot more things that are going on. So I feel like it's pretty normal to be like confused about that.
Right.
Um,
Honestly, like I felt like it was kind of anxiety inducing the first like few weeks,
mhm.
especially because the campus was so busy for some reason. Like I don't
Yeah,
remember first year being that busy in person. Like there's nowhere to sit on campus and like the
yeah.
buses were so packed and you would have to like miss your bus because it's full. Like I've never experienced that in first year, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's a weird change and like
The
social
commute thing with the
anxiety.
buses, because I
Yeah.
we take the same buses. The
Yeah.
amount of times I've missed a bus because of how
hmm
crowded it is, it's actually like I did not think that could happen.
hmm
But other than that, in terms of academics, if you're in your first year, like you just had your first like full semester end,
Yeah.
and that in not just for me, but most people I talk to, like that is like the biggest learning experience for most people because then they start to understand what post-secondary education looks like for them, what
Right.
works for them and what doesn't. So I'm gonna ask you this first. Do you think that like do you remember anything from your first semester that made you realize that you need to like study differently or do anything differently?
Definitely. I think online school is definitely like a different story compared to in-person classes. So
Yeah.
you have to like re-explore what study methods work for you, especially since commuting like takes a lot of your time away from you. So um I guess I started to realize like for example, like I like using Quizlets a lot, like flashcards and like where makes me the most productive. So for example, like I can't study at home. I have to like go to a cafe or go
Mhm.
to campus in order to stay productive. Yeah. What about you?
I think with first year, like because it was fully online, I still stayed on residence.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had to like my transition from high school to university, it just, a lot of us are used to not using our time as much into studying as in high school as we are in university. Because
Mm-hmm.
in high school, it's sort of not easier because it depends on the high school you went to, but in my experience, it just less time went into getting a very good academic result than it does in university. So
For sure.
in the first year, the results of what I was doing were not great because I wasn't doing that much in the first
Mm-hmm.
semester because
Yeah.
I think that like I was not living up to my potential because you're kind of discovering like what kind of person you are independently. If you move on campus, you're for most people it's the first time they're living alone. It's the first
Mm-hmm.
time they have to like be in charge of the food they buy, be in charge of their own habits, like wake up by themselves and stuff like that. So I think that takes a lot getting used to. So even if you are studying the best you can, there's like personal things in first semester. I feel like it's very normal for people to struggle with that. And
Mm-hmm.
like there were certain things I took the first Christmas break, like the first holiday break
Mm-hmm.
in first year to just like reflect on what I could do to be better because in your first year as a forensic student, you have to worry about the big post application and to in order to make sure that like I did put my best foot forward, it was like something I had to consider like, oh, I didn't do my readings in first semester. That's
Mm-hmm.
something I need to do. I need to practice math more. I need to do, the different things related to just like academically, but also like I started like meal planning and stuff like that. So I didn't take much time. And, you know, with online school, you also had to incorporate like I have to go outside because you're just in the
Yeah.
same room. So there's a lot of things you can learn from your first semester. I feel like you can
Mm-hmm.
learn how to like study better. You can like learn tips from other people, from your own experiences.
Yeah, and like how to
Yeah.
like balance your social life and your academic life, right? Because I think in
Yeah.
like first year, like a lot of people are so stressed out about, proving to yourself or to other people that you belong here. And because of that, like sometimes people do neglect like their physical health or like their mental health or their social life.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's like really important to like figure out how to balance that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's also like especially with transitioning online to in person, you have to also kind of worry about like trying to socialize because then
Mm-hmm.
it's like most people are not even used to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So with work-life balance, it's also like I personally think the biggest factor that many people don't like actually prioritize is sleep because people don't get enough rest and then that really impacts like your mental health, your physical health, your work and everything. And it's really hard to do that. Like I'm not going to say it's not
Mm-hmm.
hard to do that. It's very hard to do that because we have a lot on our plates, but I think in the
Yeah,
long run that's what's going to keep you like sustained,
that's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Do you have any big tips on what you can give to first year, second year students on how to like, I don't know, have a good semester throughout the year?
Like the second semester, yeah, I
Yeah.
would say like I think like that's what I did, but I know some other people who like one of my friends, she wrote down everything in first semester that worked for her, like
Mm-hmm.
that she thinks contributed to her doing good in certain classes, and then everything that she thinks went bad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sort of like a pros and cons list, but like what went good, what went bad, and what she did that was causing them to go good or bad. So I think that might be helpful for people who want to like actually see what was good that they were doing or what could improve on. And I think that just might help people. I think that helps a person sort of reflect better when it's in writing. And she said it helped her a lot because she realized that she was, ordering takeout a lot. She realized that when she did that, she would like get less stressed, but also then it would stress her out because she's spending money and that's something she had to
Mm-hmm.
worry about. So she kind of like then started planning out a balance of like she's gonna order these many days of a week and she's gonna cook at home these many days. And then with studying, she realized that like she's doing good in math, but she's not doing that good in, say, for example, bio. And then she
Hmm.
started using like Quizlets and like fish flashcards and stuff. Like she started making Quizlets. So I think that helps people a lot to write things down, like write down what works or not. Um,
Yeah, that's really
yeah.
smart. I've never heard anyone like physically like write down what they need to improve on for the
Right?
next semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done that either, but she said that like it was hard for her to like just think about it and not plan it.
Mhm.
Like she said that making a change is harder when you don't have like a set plan for her. So
That's
if you're one
true.
of those people who like need a set plan or like agendas and stuff, like thinking about it helps you like plan those things out.
Hmm.
In terms of planning and in terms of like preparing for each semester, what do you do before like the first semester,
Semester.
like in the last week of summer or like in the last week of holidays before the second semester? Like, how do you plan for a semester?
Like before a semester begins, right?
Yeah.
Um, I like usually I go through like every course that I have and I go through the syllabus and
Mhm.
I kind of like put all the assignments and the due dates and the weight into Notion. So then I like have a large master list of what I need to do throughout the year. Because I'm like, I forget things really easily. So I need to have it all down in a big list just so I don't forget any upcoming assignments or tests or anything. And I also like add my like tests or classes into my Google Calendar so I can also map out like meetings and stuff like that. That helps me like keep organized throughout the year. Yeah. I think that's it. What about you?
I think like I didn't use Google Calendar until I didn't use Google Calendar at all second year. And then in third year, I started like planning my classes, like putting my classes down in it. And it helped me so
Hmm.
much because I also like work on campus and then I can also
Right.
like place my IVNVI meetings and stuff. And it's way easier like if you have Google
Hmm.
Calendar to like have a very set and you can like color code different items. So like my classes are a different color, my work is a different color. um, so that really helps. I also like I usually use the planner. This I've actually talked about this planner before. It's the one that's on the Forensic Science Hub that few of the execs from the previous years made. And
Hmm.
it's very useful. I use that for like date like to-do lists and stuff. And before a semester starts, I used to go into like the calendar portion of that and just write whatever's due that month, and that would kind of help me like figure out what days, and in terms of what you said before of like life balance, like that would help me figure out like if I have assignments due at the end of this month, then if I want to plan something like an like just going to an event that's going to be like more relaxing or anything, or like
Hmm.
any like social gathering, I can plan them like earlier so that they're not clashing with that. So that really
Hmm.
helps. I also, for the next semester, what I'm thinking of doing is also like using Notion because I haven't used it before and I've heard it
Yeah.
works really well. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But yeah, it's mainly just like it helps a lot when the syllabus is available too, because you can like
Hmm.
plan everything out.
Yeah, because I find like as soon as the semester starts, like it accelerates, like it goes down so quickly. And like if I don't have a master list ready before the semester begins, I'll keep procrastinating it and I'll become a complete mess, you know? So I need to like make sure everything's like, organized
Yeah.
before the semester
It's
begins.
yeah, it's also
Hmm.
good for people who like start working on things very early is if you have
Hmm.
a set thing because then you can like a lot of professors recommend it is to like finish assignments like at least a day before they're due so you can like change things up if you have time, and
True.
having a calendar helps with that. Speaking of like the ends of semesters and the beginning of semesters, exam season passed like 3 weeks ago for most of us. So
Hmm.
what did you do to kind of de-stress during that period and not let yourself be overwhelmed? And also, how many finals did you have and stuff like that?
Honestly, I was pretty lucky because it's my like fourth year, so I only
Hmm.
had one final.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was like on the last day, on the 20th,
Oh my
last day of my
God.
final season. Yeah. But I know like my most stressful time period was like towards the end of the school. end of the semester, there's like
Hmm.
so many like final tests, like
Yeah.
assignments and everything. And what I did to de-stress was, well, I would like try to make plans with friends, even though I am busy, just so like my mental health is still good. Um, and I would like watch a lot of like TV shows and stuff just to like keep my morale up, you know? Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's so important to still like make plans with people and not just like become a hermit, even if you're like super busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like in terms of the finals, that's one thing that like a lot of first years and second years may not know is that
Mm-hmm.
in first year and second year you may have a lot of finals, but in
Mm-hmm.
third and fourth, what you'll have if you're in forensics, you're going to be taking more and more forensics classes in your upper years.
Yeah.
And those, in my experience, mostly have final tests. So you have a big
Yeah.
first test and then a second test. So you don't actually have finals in the finals week, but your last week of the semester is sort of your finals week. So
Definitely.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
for me, I had one final. It was the first week of the finals on Monday, so that was not bad. It was biochemistry.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, in like the 2 weeks leading up to it, I had like three final tests. So you're gonna most likely, if you have friends in like other classes that are not forensics, in my experience, I have a lot of friends who are in like life sciences and health sciences. They're going to like not be stressing out about exams when you are because your week
Yeah.
is before that. Um, but it what helps me a lot, again, like you said, is like making plans with my friends. But what I do, because I also get stressed out if I'm not working,
Mm-hmm.
if we like just study together, not on the same
True.
thing, but like in each other's company. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that helps because you're still around a person, you can still like take your breaks together, but you're
Mm-hmm.
studying different things. And that personally helps me a lot.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And
Yeah.
you also keep each other in check, right? Because sometimes like you get
Yeah.
distracted. Yeah. I've been
Yeah.
like I study with my friend and I'm always like if you see each other like go on your phones, you'd be like, put that down. Like get off your phone, you know? Yeah.
What my best friend, one of my best friends and I do is we like give each other our phones.
Hmm.
So like we exchange phones and then just put them away, and so that we just don't look at them because they're not near us, and that helps.
That's
Um,
smart, yeah.
does studying with other people help you? Like when you're studying on the same topic?
If it's the same topic, then I would say like you need to study beforehand before you review with your friends because sometimes because it helps with like I guess reviewing and clarifying things. But
Yeah.
if you don't know anything and you're like reviewing with your friend, it's not that productive, you know? For me, anyways, yeah.
I agree with that. What I often for like biochemistry or bio classes, like I would
Hmm.
review with my roommate the exact like at the very end. So like
Hmm.
when we're both confident on everything and we've learned everything,
Hmm.
that's when you kind of like we basically just like explain it to each other just so we know things. And I think
Hmm.
studying with other people doesn't help when you're, in my experience, when you're trying to understand it because
You're right, yeah.
you kind of need to, that's like what you said, you kind of need to like do that personally.
For sure.
Moving on to the other thing that we wanted to talk about, which was office hours.
Right.
Um, so a lot of people, a lot of the first years, we believe that don't actually are not actually aware of what office hours that execs hold are, which
Hmm.
is on part our fault. So we just wanted to clarify about what those are so that you guys can actually use this resource to your benefit.
Hmm.
So do you want to like kind of give a brief overview about what office hours are actually meant to be and what they can do in them?
So exec office hours in IVNVI, it's basically when each exec in the team is allocated a specific time during the week. And we would basically sit in the office and the door is open for anyone who's interested in talking to us to come in. It's a
Hmm.
drop-in thing, so you don't have to like register for anything. So if you have any questions regarding like general advice from the execs or anything about our upcoming events or socials, you can come and like, you know, chat with us. Even like if you just want to come in and like chat about random topics, like we're all open to like talk and everything too. Do you have
Yeah,
anything to add to that?
I think that like it's also important for you like people to not important, but I think it would be helpful if you guys kind of like have any questions about post or
Mm-hmm.
like just general advice, like the things we're talking about right now about like de-stressing and stuff like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of post, we're going to touch on this right now as well, but like how to manage the stress that relates with it. We cannot help provide any assistance. Just to be clear, we cannot provide any assistance related to academics. We're not tutors. But
Mm-hmm.
what we can do is just answer questions about the program, some upper year classes that if you want to like know more about different upper year classes that you might be interested in, that we have taken and how we feel about like the content and what we think would like interest you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or just about like different things related to forensics. And like Lavelle said, just to chat. You can for sure drop by on any of our office hours, um,
Mm-hmm.
which the schedule for the winter semester is going to be posted. And all of the execs hold office hours and they're usually like
Right.
spread out throughout the week. So if you're not available one day but another day you have a question, all of us can answer your questions like the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something we would like people to know because we really want to like help you guys, or just like provide some assistance or just to hear you guys out about whatever you want to talk about. A lot of us like talking about like crime shows, so
Yeah.
obviously, so you can talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's super helpful because I remember in first year I was like super confused with everything and like I didn't really know a lot about the forensics program or anything. And since all of these, like all of us, have been in the program and like we're in upper year students, so like we can give some of our experience to people who like drop by and like ask about it, you know?
Yeah, and then you can also go to specific execs if you have specific questions.
Yeah,
With
true.
the schedule, it has like our names and our roles written. So if you have any questions about, say, ear rep stuff, you can go contact two, and who's the
Mm-hmm.
ear rep chair. If you have any questions about merchandise, you can contact me and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So if you have any questions about our social media works, you can contact Lavelle or Victoria. So it is specific for some cases, but we're all here to like just provide assistance and help you guys. Um, but when you have any academic questions, you have to go through like the program coordinator, Murray, or like the academic department, or your professors or your TAs. That's something we
Mm-hmm.
can't help you with, but we can help you with like the more social, more like stress aspect of it, maybe, or like more of the society related aspect of it and how you can like maybe contribute to the society by like attending events and stuff like that, or how you can like maybe be a bigger part of the society next year, with
Yeah,
the year rep
true.
thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so moving on to our FAQs, one of the things that people ask us a lot at different events and stuff is that
Mm-hmm.
what are the biggest like tips we would give to the very new students, which we've kind of touched on, but is there anything you wanted to add about that? Is there any tip you have?
I think the biggest tip I would give is to make sure you're involved on campus because it's a great way to like meet people and to have like a good social life. And also it's really good for like making connections and like learning new things. So like if you're interested in friends, like you can join IVNVI. But there's also like other like many clubs that cater to different interests. So I'd say it's really valuable to enter or like to join one of these clubs, you know, to get that experience.
Yeah, I feel like if you're also in like say the anthro specialist, you can also join the Anthro Society as like a general member, or like the
True.
Arendelle Biology Society if you're a biology person. So
Hmm.
you can like join many of those things. If you want to just have like more social involvement on campus, you can also join like the clubs because you're part of a club too, right? You're an exec for like a social club as well.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
exec for CAS, the Canadian Asian Society. So I
Yeah.
think it's like, yeah, like there's academic societies and there's also like more
Clubs, yeah.
social clubs. Yeah. So yeah, I think being a part of like each of those is like a really good way to
Yeah.
get involved on campus. Yeah.
I think another way to get involved campus, which is what I'm doing, is like you can also look for work on campus, which like
Hmm.
I do. I work at the Blind Duck. And
Right.
I think that really helps socialize. So any tip I would give people, not in the first semester, I wouldn't recommend.
Hmm.
Maybe other than the societies, I'm talking about in terms of work, I wouldn't recommend in the first semester because you're getting used to knowing what works. But in the second semester, if you would like want to look for things, then definitely would recommend that because I think that especially as we're all getting used to social interactions more.
Yeah.
Um, the second question was that what are your favorite forensics related courses you've taken?
Um, okay. I really liked forensics in the law because I'm really like interested in the law, so that class was really great for me.
FSC
Um,
360?
yeah, that
Yeah.
class with Professor Prakash. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was really interesting to me, but I guess it depends on your interests. I also really like psychopharmacology with Professor Woodall, and I like the ethics and professionalism course with Professor Woodall and
Same.
Murray. Yeah,
That I really like that course.
yeah.
A lot of people like see ethics and think that it's going to be just a theory course and like you're not
Hmm.
going to like have as much like knowledge as you usually would think, or like people don't think it would be fun, but it actually is, and they really know how to combine fun and the learning aspect. Like I still remember everything I learned from that course.
Hmm.
Um, like I remember specific like cases and stuff like that. I agree with that one.
The trolley
Um,
problems were so much fun.
Trolley problems are very fun. We
Yeah.
had a Meet the Profs event,
Hmm.
and at that event, Murray was talking about those, and I was just telling everyone who was in first year how great those are because they were really fun.
Yeah.
Um, I also really like FSC 360. That's one of my favorite courses too. And I'm not like, I haven't thought about like law as something I want to go into, but it's very interesting to me. And the guest speakers, like getting to know
Hmm.
like the careers and like the different educational backgrounds and also the experiences the guest speakers have had because we had like some like in one lecture we had like a crown like a lawyer and then a
Hmm.
defense lawyer, and they were both like talking about how their different experiences are and how they like how their different educational backgrounds are. And then in another, we had like three guest speakers. One was a forensic pathologist, one was an anthropologist, and one was an entomologist. And
Hmm.
like we personally, like after the lectures, we would get the chance to like ask them questions. So like I got to know about like what their educational background was because I did not know like what education you kind of need to be an entomologist. And she like sort of gave me like everything, like she told me about everything she did. And I feel like that course really gives you a chance to like see the side of forensics you don't get to see until that point, like the law part
Hmm.
of it. You really
Yeah, for
don't get
sure.
to know much about it unless you're taking law courses. Another one of my favorite courses is FSC 402, which is forensic toxicology with Dr. Woodall.
Hmm.
It's very similar to the pharmacology one, but it's more so like based on learning about like general dynamics, pharmacodynamics, and kinetics of like different types of drugs and how they're involved in forensic cases.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely recommend that to people who are interested in toxicology. That case really like helped me grow even more of an interest into toxicology. And I would recommend that to anyone who wants to like anyone, especially if you're in bio or chem. I feel like that's a good course to take.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about that course. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I also forgot. I took forensic identification, so like forensic
Ooh,
300,
yeah.
302, and then the field school. And I think those courses were really good too. I really enjoyed those too.
How is field school? Like what is that like?
It was really fun. It was part of it was in the summer for me, and then
Hmm.
the rest of it was in the fall semester. And since the class size was small, I felt like it was easier to kind of talk to people and connect with classmates. And you
Yeah.
also learn a lot of cool things and you get to do more hands-on work, which I thought was really cool, like uncovering fingerprints or like doing footwear impressions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've seen a lot of people like who are in 300 or 302 talk about the fingerprints and stuff, and it looks
Hmm.
very interesting. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. One of the classes I'm excited for next semester is actually FSC 303, which is crime scene identification. And that's kind of like it takes a lot of elements from 300 and 302 into like
Hmm.
one course. So that's one of the courses I'm looking forward to. Are there any like courses that next semester that you're like particularly excited about?
Honestly, I haven't even went over what I'm taking next semester, but I know I'm taking forensic biology, and I'm kind of excited for that because I haven't really taken a
Yeah,
forensic bio specific course, right? So yeah, I'm like looking forward to that one.
me too. I'm excited for that one because like before, um, we actually didn't, a lot of people actually weren't able to get into that course and then they increased the class size. So now I can take
That's
it.
great. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that course as well. Um, Moving forward, we sort of talked about how we stay organized during the
True. Yeah.
semester. But is there anything you would like to add other than like Notion and calendars and stuff?
No, I'm very like I'm a really big advocate for Google Calendar, but other than that, that's
Google
it.
Calendar and
Yeah.
daily to-do lists. Daily to-do lists, I think,
Hmm.
like if you have like, I need to get I personally don't like putting times on it. I have friends who would say like I need to get this done by 3 p.m., this done by 4 p.m. I feel like it would make me
Hmm.
feel bad if I don't. So
Yeah, true.
I just make like a list of like I need to get these things done for this class today, these things done for this class today, and then certain
Hmm.
things I say if I have time, I'll do these. But like so you sort of like prioritize your day.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. So in terms of post, which is one of the most popular questions,
Hmm.
for you, how did the process of applying for post go for you? And was it like stressful? And when did you apply? And yeah.
Um, I think I applied after my second year. Yeah, I think so. Because
Hmm.
in first year, I felt like my grades weren't as good as they needed to be, and I wanted to improve on that before I applied for post. So so right now I'm in the forensic bio specialist program with a minor in psychology. But I think in first year I applied for a double major in biology and psychology, so I didn't do forensics at all for my post. And
Hmm.
then afterwards, when my grades got a bit better, I reapplied for the forensic biospecialist and I got into that. So, I don't know. I feel like the process was kind of stressful because I kind of worried that like I might not get into my post. And also like I guess when you compare yourself to others, you're like, oh my God, like everyone's in their post, but I'm
Yeah.
not, and you kind of get stressed out about it. But now we're like looking back at it, it was pretty like it wasn't as bad as I thought of it was in the moment, you know? Like it
Yeah.
was okay. Yeah. What about you?
For me, it was I applied in my first year and
Hmm.
I wanted to do forensic biology specialist, but
Hmm.
the process of applying for it, because most people they're applying for posts like most people I know they applied like later than us because we can only apply like in the first portion.
Hmm.
And um it was a little bit stressful in the sense that like you are really comparing yourself to the people in your classes because if you just think like oh this person seems to be smarter or whatever,
Hmm.
um that is one of the things that I was like that's a very like unhealthy thing and it makes you feel bad, but that
Hmm.
takes some getting like if anyone like listening or watching, if you like do that, that's like very normal because that's like
Hmm.
it takes a long time to get over that to actually like feel confident about your academics or like just about yourself and like not have imposter syndrome when you're at a big academic institution such as UTM. um, so that was something I had to kind of deal with. It's like, yes, like I am qualified for this. I should like feel better. Um, I did procrastinate on writing like the written portion of it,
Hmm.
which I wouldn't recommend. So I would say like write that far in advance. Like I started it far in advance, but I didn't finish it until the end. So would
Hmm.
definitely say that. I think with your case, what's just good for people to know is that like you can apply in your second year is like you don't if you don't feel confident in your first year with your grades or if there's some credits you need to like still take or some classes you can
Right.
like apply later.
Yeah, as long as you apply for a post in your first year, like as long as it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your desired post, but as long as you apply for one. Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes, most people who do that, they just take like a forensic science minor, which you
Yeah.
only need, I believe, 239, 70% in that class. I'm not sure. But like
Hmm.
you need a certain mark in 239 and you can apply for the minor.
Hmm.
So you can still take like the courses you take for second year, but then apply for the specialist you want. Or if you get into the double major first year, I believe there's a separate application to go from a double major to a specialist, but things like that are
Hmm.
on the forensics website. So
Yeah.
you
Or you
always have
can,
like options. Yeah.
yeah, you can make an appointment with like the
True.
academic department
Yeah.
or ask Murray about that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the academic apartment department like appointments really help. Like that
Hmm.
was the best thing in first year is like I would just book a Zoom appointment and I would go there and basically just ask, okay, I don't know if I need to take this course. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how to read the academic calendar, which again, academic calendar is your best friend, just like how Google
Hmm.
Calendar is. You need to like you need to look at that to make sure you know what you have to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I believe that was all of the general things we wanted to cover today. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Mm, nothing else really, but I just want to emphasize, like, if anyone has any questions or would like to chat, please come to my office hours because I always love talking to like new people and stuff. What
Same,
about you?
yeah.
Anything? Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing in particular. I would say people should look forward to the new merch in the next upcoming semester. We had a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
delay for the first semester, but it is like we're in the process of trying to like get the merch. So look forward to that. I hope you guys like it. But that's all for today's episode. And thank you so much for listening. We will be back with guest speakers as usual on our next episode. So stay tuned for that. Just a reminder also that if you have any additional questions, you can come to our office hours, and the winter semester schedule will be released soon,
So yeah.
most likely before the semester starts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's all. Happy holidays and have a great New Year's.
Happy holidays.